Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
Good morning, this is Newsline. I'm Sonali Vanigabadage. Now, the scourge of drugs, is Sri Lanka doing enough to combat this? We have with us in our studio a guest to discuss this topic. He is Mr. Pradeep Kumara, Assistant Director of Preventive Education and Training at the National Dangerous Drug Control Board. Good morning, Mr. Kumara.
Good morning,
and thank
Sonali.
you for joining us. Mr. Kumara, every day we hear incidents of how the police has seized a certain stock of either marijuana or heroin from various parts of Sri Lanka. What really is going on?
Yeah, actually, Sonali, you say that marijuana. Marijuana is a really strange name to Sri Lanka. Not marijuana, actually, cannabis and sometimes called KG. It's a very important issue you are today talking. I approach to this topic actually how say that cannabis production and ganja is a very famous among our society today. Some cases have been reported day to day by police and some other law enforcement agencies see some considerable amount of drug production. Every individual fully aware about that the situation. There are because spreading a substance or drugs in a society, it's a very huge problem, actually public health problem. You are think actually all the production used by our people. It is not true. Actually, sometimes those production important from the country outside. Some in recently Sri Lanka became a transit point. It's the true. This is sometimes make wrong image to about Sri Lanka. Production is this amount is going to increase today. I agree, but it is not complete true, 100% true. Some are facts hidden in this situation.
Okay, so are you not agreeing with the fact that there is an increase in the usage of drugs among Sri Lanka's youth and other sectors of society? Is there an increase?
Yeah, it is still Sri Lankan government has controlled the substance use in level. Actually, demand is not highly increased. It's controlled, but the fact is that we become a transit point. Therefore, some figures going to increase. It's show a huge mythological image. It's not a genuine image. We should realize the situation. Look at that. Just one moment. Okay. Can I break?
Sure. So we are in conversation with Mr. Pradeep Kumara. We are live and direct coming to you from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. We are discussing the scourge of drugs, the drug menace in Sri Lanka. Are we really doing enough to contain this scourge? The government has taken measures to control the drug usage in Sri Lanka, but every day we hear instances about how the police and the anti-narcotics units are conducting raids and finding drug hauls across the country. So we are in conversation with Mr. Pradeep Kumara, and we are live on your TV screens right now. Mr. Kumara, you mentioned a very important point, the fact that Sri Lanka is used as a transit point for drugs. So then it's not just local, it's international. Can you explain this?
Yeah, look at that. In a recently, PNB and STF seized a large amount of cocaine in a Paliagoda area. I think around 301 kilograms cocaine seized by PNB and STF and joint venture. Now, we know that there were not reported in lot of cocaine users in the country. Actually, why this huge amount taken to custody, actually seized? That's by excavating the routes and trafficking ways, we found out that those amounts come to Sri Lanka and go back to Sri Lanka in the European and American passages. That has been realized actually why this cocaine come to Sri Lanka. That's in the cocaine production is produced by Latin American countries, in the South American countries like Mexico, Paraguay and Brazil like countries. Now it's very close to next border to North America, but huge embarkation barriers in two borders. Therefore, dealers find the new routes. Now, recently we found out that which is the routes they are using. American intelligence came to Sri Lanka and they are very wondering about that the situation. They are now developed their intelligence sharing services.
So, are you saying that Sri Lanka's intelligence services have to be beefed up or strengthened to tackle this international drug menace that is also
really
coming to Sri Lanka?
Really, Sonali, this time actually very recently we are planned to put up an intelligence sharing center in South Asian region. It will be located in Sri Lanka because India and other subcontinent countries agreed to set up this new information sharing center in Sri Lanka.
So an information sharing center will be set up in Sri Lanka in the near future, which will control the use, the finding out of drugs. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Why? You know that actually some other new threats upcoming to Sri Lanka as well as in the region. Now other new drugs like pharmaceutical items. Otherwise, some of internet drug market will be a threat to Sri Lanka as well as the region. Therefore, intelligence should be alert to that upcoming threat. Therefore, we need to prepare our instrument and other such exploration ways to fully alert to what is happening in near future in the region.
What is the exact role of the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board in combating the scourge of drugs?
Sonali, National Dangerous Drug Control Board set up in 1984 in the Parliament Act number 11. Why it wanted to set up? Actually, dangerous drug control boards working towards four strategical ways. First one is preventive education and training. You know that in the society is always aware of that drugs, and there are some of a trend to be happen to using a drugs. We need to get information and some other intelligence and other enlighten the society because what are the epidemic comes to using substances like legal law, illegal. First thing is we need to aware and fully alert, educated the society. That's a prevention part of the board. Second thing, everybody not reached to the prevention message, and otherwise they are not accepted prevention method. There are so many cases happen to be increase the risk level to using drugs. We discuss later in that facts. However, some are using drugs and then they develop gradually some of individual, family and communal discomfort by using drugs. Therefore, they need to some of assistance. Therefore, we need to develop a treatment and counseling facilities after the rehabilitation.
On that note, we go in for a short commercial break. We are in conversation with an official from the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board, Mr. Pradeep Kumara. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Welcome back. This is Newsline. Is Sri Lanka doing enough to combat the scourge of drugs in Sri Lanka? We're in conversation with Mr. Pradeep Kumara, who is the Assistant Director, Preventive Education and Training at the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board. Mr. Kumara, we were talking about the issues that Sri Lanka is facing, and you mentioned counseling. Are there sufficient counseling services available in Sri Lanka for children or users of these drugs?
Yes, Sonali, I am come to your question to next. Now I am talking about what are the 4 strategies National Dangerous Drug Control Board is operating. So next one is we are talking as counseling and treatment next to rehabilitation. Actually, Dangerous Drug Control Board operate 4 treatment centers in various parts of the Sri Lanka. In Kandy, Colombo, 2 centers in Colombo, and another one is Galle. Sonali, you know that actually there are 45,000 opioid users. Like you are not familiar, actually opioid users. Opioid is heroin users, mainly heroin users in Sri Lanka. In our research report has been pointed out that nearly 45,000 heroin users in Sri Lanka. That's a fact is really affected 45,000 families to this massacre. Now, they need special attention. They need special rehabilitation programs. Therefore, we operate 3 months rehabilitation program for them. They are actually in the long term using a heroin is a really disease. We are concerned actually using or addiction is a disease. Addiction is a brain disease. Therefore, they need to special attention. Our treatment staff, rehabilitation staff is always alert to handle their problems. Third one is third strategical ways Dangerous Drug Control Board is doing research and experiment. Ms. Sonali, you can find some substances in the street level. Those don't know how much it has a purity level. It's a those are things you heard some news in heroin or something. You think actually that drugs have a full contents of a heroin. It is not true. Some street sample we are.
But we need to be concerned about the fact that these hauls are being made by the police, which means that there is a demand for these substances.
Yeah, actually, Sonali, now I told you that some street sample from north eastern Anuradhapura in 2015 only contents diacetylmorphine contents is less than 20%. Others is including such a lot of some rubbish like diazepam, sucrose, lactose. There are so many ingredients. Therefore, we should explore we should find out what will be happen using such a drugs. look at that, we know that what are the effects, side effects and medical consequences using a heroin, but nobody knows actually what happened using such unnecessary contents including that substance. Now we need to develop our research unit, both scientific research and social research is operating through what is happening in the society. Last one is, this is the authorized statutory government body to provide intelligence to make international and local policies. We are the responsible organization to produce government and parliament what will be happening next future. Look at like several other organizations working towards this. NATA, National Alcohol and Tobacco Authority, PNB in the law enforcement side, custom, as well as some of outside NGOs working towards to this one, but we are collaborating and we are the leading them to which is the most appropriate and suitable policy to implement in Sri Lanka today.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. The question about counselling, do we have sufficient facilities, do we have sufficient experts in Sri Lanka to provide counselling facilities to existing drug users?
Counselling, substance counselling or addiction counselling is a very important part in global today. In universal prevention and counselling curriculums introduced to Sri Lanka recently. Unfortunately, counselling field is not 100% accepted by Sri Lanka recently. Why? Like comparing very developed countries, counselling is not still developed interdisciplinary in Sri Lanka. However, today NDDCB operated several courses to developing the counselling, and then our counsellors developed to fully address the issues which is upcoming to substance users. Now, how counselling is an effective way, both primary counselling as well as intake counselling, and next to there are so many counselling ways to implement to substance users, family counselling, group and individual counselling. All are very important instrument to addressing the users' issues. Not only user, we are focused to their family and a community, because substance use is not an individual disease, it is a family disease as well as community disease. Whether if a user is created by a society by lot of by the cause of a lot of factors, how a drug user is created, how drug user is imaged, it is a combination of three factors. Now, first one is a personal factor. Personal factor, it's divided into two categories, like physiological factors and psychological factors. Second thing is environmental factor. There are so many environmental factors affected to develop substance using and predictably process of development addiction. Cultural, family, community. That's so many factors. Third one is a substance factor. Substance factor is another crucial thing. Actually, availability of a substance, price level, also addictive level, addictive potentials, all has to cause develop substance using and gradual development after dependency.
We'll continue the conversation after this commercial break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Newsline. We're discussing drugs in Sri Lanka. Are we doing enough? Mr. Kumara, when we take a look at the drug usage in Sri Lanka, it's not just the traditional dangerous drugs that are currently being used. I mean, in addition to heroin and the more common marijuana, there's also the usage of party drugs, LSD. If you take a nightclub in Colombo, for example, you find most of the youth on these pills, and I don't see any law enforcement authorities doing anything. I mean, you could correct me certainly if I'm wrong.
No. Recently we collaborate to produce the new laws to against such as psychotropic substances and some other narcotic substances. In the first thing is actually we are working against them. First thing. Second thing, you are asking some other new trends like pharmaceutical items and other club drugs and party drugs. In our research unit, NDDCB, operating household survey recently, as well as club survey. We could found some other several cases like you have mentioned club drugs or party drugs. Very few cases have been reported like LSD and some other psychotropic substances. We checked those samples in our narcotic laboratory. LSD stands on lysergic diethylamide acid. That's the ingredients. Actually, we still fortune, the amount of lysergic acid is very less in that stands. However, we are not we are aware actually fully put on that case because it is not a simple thing. We know that if spreads some other pharmaceutical or new club drugs among youngsters, it's a very difficult to reduce or control. Why? You know that new drugs are, there is no any shape. Those are come by pills or tablet, even liquid form. It is not easy to seize. It is not easy to identify. Huge problem might be happen among law enforcement agencies. Why? Custom and some of the routine ways, CO, air, always alert to identifying these substances come to the country. It is very huge problem. Next thing is this you mentioned substances, addictive potential level is a very high. Those comes to schedule number 1 drugs, LSD, like methamphetamine, those comes. Therefore, NDDCB always alert and involved with, interconnected with other agencies. We are trying to stop and still control these new trends.
Okay. Also, Mr. Kumara, something that we see is that around schools, not just in Colombo, but across the island, in the north, the south of the country, across the board, we see that near schools, there are shops selling toffees which are laced with drugs. And I think over the recent past, a lot was done to ensure that these are curbed. But why do you think? Do you think we have done enough, or do you think our youth is safe from this drug menace?
No, actually I am not agree because you are correct. This operation and our involvement is actually very less, because you know that you are telling some shops around schools surrounding. Those are selling some areca nuts and babul, like a babul product with the areca nuts and beetles, some other tobacco products including, and a mix and make some handmade drugs like a babul, tool and something. Every person, every individual, every children who are using substance in a illegal substance in a later life, their first usage is actually tobacco or even like those products. Then we call these drugs as a gateway drugs,
Right.
because it's open the doors to next stage. Therefore, our responsible is to reduce all the such items drive away from market. Actually, dealers like some smaller shops dealers, they need to day-to-day earnings, wages. Therefore, they selling to these products to our children without calculating or evaluating the harmful effects what will be happen those children in the mind. I say Sonali, actually youngsters' brain is a very important part to in this concept. Why? Children brain is developing until 24 of age. Therefore, the reason the tobacco products don't sell to youngsters, actually under 21 years of age children or in person. Why? Still brain development process is happening. If introduce a new substance to the body, it's directly affected to the central nervous system.
Right.
It consists with the brain and spinal column.
Mr. Kumara, we are on our last 1 minute of the show, so I'll ask you to give your final words of advice to parents watching us at home. How do they protect their children from this drug menace? In a minute.
Yeah, very common and well important question, but unfortunately we know what are the busy schedules of parents. Every moment, you and me and other elders, our parents are always busy now. Today, there are with a lot of work. They try to build up a good environment to their children. They try, but unfortunately, they lost their important responsibilities. That's the reason.
So spend time with your children is the final message that Mr. Pradeep Kumara has for the parents watching us on this edition of Newsline. With that, we draw to a close this program. We thank you very much, Mr. Pradeep Kumara, Assistant Director, Preventive Education and Training from the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board, for joining us this morning. We wrap up this edition. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukut Ali.